Hello. Today in class 8 science subject chapter first crop production and management I will begin with a new topic, but before we start the new topic I will summarize the whole topic which is given in this chapter. For example, or you can say, I will teach first of all definition of crop in this chapter, and once again I repeat this definition. When the same kind of plant grow in a large area of land, that is called crop. When same kind of plant grown on a large area of land is called a crop. Crop basically are two types. This classification based on the showing of their seasonal variation. So crop mainly classified into two types: kharif crop and rabi crop. Kharif crops are sown in rainy season, whereas rabi crops are sown in summer season. This is the summary of this chapter, because I will begin with a last topic of this chapter. So I think first of all begin with the last topic. Let us summarize the whole chapter in this video. Kharif crops are maybe paddy crop, example paddy crop, cotton, etc. Whereas rabi crops are wheat, peas, etc. Now whole chapter mainly composed of what are the basic practices involved involved in our crop production. Almost all practices I discussed earlier. And what are these practices? Preparation of soil, sowing, by which method we can sow the seeds in a proper way, how soil is prepared or ready for the sowing of seeds. The third one is adding manure and fertilizers. For the irrigation, how irrigation can be done in the plant crop field. Some practices are removal of weeds. Weeds means unwanted plants which are grown along with our desired crop. Sixth one is harvesting. And the last topic today, I will start the storage of food grains. The food grains which are obtained after the performing all above these practices from 1st to 6th, how can we preserve and storage the food grains which are obtained by our crop plants? So now let us begin with my last topic, storage of food grains. Storage of food grains. Storage means to store or collect the all food grains like wheat or rice which are obtained by the harvesting of the crop, and they are used for whole year. Before storing the food grains, first of all we need to dry the food grain in the sunshine to reduce their moisture. Before storing the food grain, there is need to dry in the sunshine due to which its moisture is reduced. To reduce the moisture of the food grain, there is need to dry the food grain in the sunshine, and then because if the food contain higher moisture, it promotes the growth of fungus and molds on the stored grains, and which damages them. A government agency that is called FCI, it means Food Corporation of India. It is a government agency. What are the function of this FCI? It buys FCI buys the grains from farmers on large scale and storage the food grains is done in two ways. FCI, which is a government agency, the function of this FCI is it buys the food grains from the farmers and stores the food grains mostly in two ways. First one is they store the food grain in gunny bags. Gunny bags are jute bags. Normally, farmer also store their food grains in gunny bags, and FCI also collect these food grains in grain silos and keep or store for a whole year. FCI store the food grains in two ways. The first one is in gunny. They collect the food grains in gunny bags and stored for a long year or whole year, and also it connects the food in grain silos. Gunny bags are simple bags in which foods are packed, or if you make this figure in this way, more convenient to understand, pack the food in this bag and after packing they are tied up, and silos are, it look like container which are in these shapes, and they are away from the reach to the moisture to the ground. These are called grain silos. grain silo. FCI store the food in two ways, either it packed in gunny bags or it packed in grain silos. And some chemicals are also used to prevent the food grain from the fungus and molds. And it also prevents from getting the moisture to the ground. Another food also we obtained from some animals like milk, eggs and meat. These are obtained from the some animals. Some animals are milk giving animals or milk yielding animals. Some are eggs and some are meat producing. Milk giving animals are like cow, buffalo and goat. We obtain egg or meat from hen, goat, sheep. Meat and eggs we obtained from hen. Meat obtained from goat, fish, etc. One another a term is given in your syllabus that is called animal husbandry. So I will discuss here what is animal husbandry. Animal husbandry is the agriculture of feeding, sheltering, healthy and breeding of domestic animals, means rearing, sheltering and breeding of domestic animals is called animal husbandry. So we can say that the branch of agriculture which deals with the feeding of domestic animals, sheltering of domestic animals, their health and breeding, means feeding, shelter, health and breeding of domestic animals. What are the domestic animals? Cow, buffalo, these are the domestic animals. Domestic animals is called animal husbandry. The various practices necessary for food and other purposes In animal husbandry, we need to perform some practices. We need to perform some practices like proper feeding of animals, proper shelter of animals, prevention and cure of animal diseases, prevention and cure of animal diseases, and also proper breeding of animals. Breeding means their reproduction. It is breeding related to the reproduction of animals. Proper breeding of animals. So, animal husbandry is also related to the agriculture. It means in this branch of agriculture, we need to done feeding, sheltering, health and breeding of the domestic animals, and we need to do some practices regarding this animal husbandry. First of all, we need to confirm their proper feeding of animals. Animals provide proper feeding, they get their food easily, feeding means, and they also need to require a proper shelter environment, and they get prevention and cure from the diseases. And finally, there is also an important point that is called breeding of animals. It is also done properly.